Here, come here. All right, so now we're going to do the Dana White quote game. Angie Jabs is going to be reading out quotes. And here we go. They're right here. So she's going to ask whether this is Dana White, Ted, or if it's a UFC fighter. Here's the first quote.
Boxing is your father's sport?
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter? Boxing is your father's sport.
Boxing is your father's sport. Dana White.
I'm gonna say Dana White just because I know that he's not a big fan of.
Oh no, you know what? I think that was Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan might have said that.
Joe Rogan?
I'm gonna go with Joe Rogan.
What was the right answer?
Dana White.
Oh, it was Dana White. Okay.
It was Dana White.
So never changed my answer. You know, like they say that in the SATs, when you mark your answer, go with your first answer. Don't change it and go to the next one.
You changed it up quick on us. All right, so question number 2. So far, I'm in the lead. I'm going to keep my eye on the chat room. If you guys want to say what you think, it's either Dana or a UFC fighter, type it in. We'll give you a second to answer it. We'll give you a reason why we're picking our answer. So question number 2 is...
If you haven't lost in the sport, you haven't fought the right guys yet.
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter? Say the quote one more time for everybody.
If you haven't lost in the sport, you haven't fought the right guy yet.
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter?
What is it? If you haven't lost in this sport, you haven't...
If you haven't lost in the sport, you haven't fought the right guy yet. Was that a UFC fighter or Dana White?
UFC fighter.
People in the chat room are saying UFC fighter. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say it's a UFC fighter, just because I feel like that's a more educated answer than Dana would say. Is that polite to say? Why do you think that's
You goof. What's that?
Why do you think that's a fighter?
I mean, Dana White could say something like that, but
He could.
He very well could, because he, even though he's not a fighter, he knows the fight game so well. He speaks like he is a fighter. I don't know. It's just. It sounds like it's coming from somebody who's been there before. It sounds like it's coming from somebody who has lost.
And the correct answer is
Matt Hughes.
Matt Hughes is the one who said it. So it was a UFC fighter.
All right.
So you got 1, and I got 2.
Yeah, you're leading me 2-1.
All right, 2-1. The chat room got that one right as well. Congratulations. Question number 3 is...
I'm very happy you won this fight, but I'm not impressed by your performance.
Ah!
That's a good one. The chat room is saying, Angie, wake up. So one more time, what was the question?
I'm very happy you won this fight, but I'm not impressed by your performance.
Who was that? I know exactly who this is.
Yeah, it's GSP.
GSP. And
I
the
am not
correct
impressed with
answer
your
is
performance.
GSP.
So now it is tied 2. Or no.
No, you got 3.
3. Dude, I need to go back to kindergarten. All right, question number 4. This could be the tiebreaker, right? Or this could start the tiebreaker, I should say. Quote number 4. Is this Dana White or a UFC fighter?
He'll forget about college. I barely finished high school.
Forget about college. I barely finished high school. Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter?
Huh. Trying to think if Dana White actually went to college. I don't think.
What do we know about Dana White's past? We know that he grew up in Boston, correct?
Right.
I think he's actually from Connecticut. He was born in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I'm from right now. I'm pretty sure. Let me know if I'm wrong in the chat room or on my tweet. Follow me on Twitter at evil_echo or Ted at Ted Czech, CZECH. What was the quote again? One more time.
Forget about college. I barely finished high school.
So we know that Dana White had the boxing background, right?
He was a boxer-size instructor.
Yeah.
Well, he did have. He was an AMI boxer as well. Yeah, no, I don't think he had any pro fights, but he was an amateur boxer, and then later on he went to teach. He went on to teach boxer-size, but I think it's Dana White. I don't think Dana White ever went to college, to tell you the truth.
I think that's a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if Dana White didn't graduate high school and he's in the position he is, wow. Right?
No, he said he barely finished high school. So
was that the quote? I barely finished high school? Oh.
So he did, but, by the skin of his teeth or whatever, I guess.
Huh.
That's not how I take it, at least. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like like somebody who won the belt might have said that in the post fight, and then might have been like, "Shoot, maybe I shouldn't have said that." So maybe that's why the quote is. So I'm gonna say it was a fighter. So was that quote Dana White or a UFC fighter? Angie Jabs, what was it?
It's Dana White.
Oh.
Dana White.
So now we have a tie. Damn.
3-3, man.
I was like sure that was a fighter.
And truly, I mean, what a success story, The guy barely finished high school.
I mean, that's not something to like encourage children to do.
Yeah,
just slipped by, but.
Yeah, right. No, he's that's a rarity right there, Gotta have the right friends.
Hey, man, your boy Salem's 1976 is here, saying, "What's up, Ted and Eddie? What's going on, Salem 1976? Welcome."
Oh, hey, Salem.
Welcome to our Wednesday weekly show, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Thanks for just tuning in. We're at our hour and 12-minute mark, and we're having a lot of fun. Thanks for joining in right now. We are in the middle of the Dana White or UFC fighter game with me and Ted Czech and Angie Jabs alongside me. And I got beat up going to get her, but it was worth it. We're having fun. Welcome to the game. We're going to give you a chance to interact with us and let us know whether you think it is a Dana White. He says Ted knows me as Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy.
All right. So,
Sammy Eid.
Sammy Eid. What's going on, Sam? And thanks for joining us on our chat. This is going to be going on every Wednesday. He's probably just tuning in, Ted, because the Ultimate Fighter 23 just ended, the new episode.
Oh, I would think so. I mean, Sammy is a hardcore fan, so he probably was watching that.
And if you are a fan of Tough 23, Angie Jabs, who is not going to be coming on camera right this second, on our podcast on iTunes, you guys can go check that out. We cover Tough 23 every week. Me and Angie Jabs give everybody a weekly wrap up. I was gonna pull it up, but here's the chat room right there. So going on to the next question, what is the quote, Angie Jabs?
Don't ever let anybody know you're injured.
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter? And once again, what was the quote?
Don't ever let anybody know you're injured.
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter, guys? We should get the Jeopardy clock.
Wait, it was don't ever let any. Wait, Eddie, the Angie, the mysterious female voice said it. Don't ever let anybody see what or hear what.
One more time, Angie Jabs. What is it for everyone listening?
Don't ever let anyone know you're injured.
Don't ever let anyone know you're injured. Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter?
I'm gonna say a UFC fighter.
The chat room is saying UFC fighter, and they're saying let's see Angie as well.
Don't give in to those dogs.
What was
Hey,
the
those
quote?
guys are dogs.
Don't ever let anyone know you're injured.
I'm saying Dana White on that. And you're saying Dana as well?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying it was a UFC fighter.
Sammy is guessing Dana. I got Jay's UFC fighter. I'm saying Dana. Angie Jabs, what is the right answer?
Dana White.
Ah! What? What the heck? Why would Dana White say something like that?
Do you know where that quote's from, Ange? Babe? It wasn't written. Next time we do this, we'll have the quote and when it was said prepared for next time. And if you guys have any other segment ideas or fun shows, interactive shows, let us know. We'd be more than happy to take your segment. All right, so now what is the score, Ted?
4-3 for you, Eddie.
Oh, really?
You're leading 4-3.
Next question is this Dana White or a UFC fighter who said this quote here?
Not bad for an old man.
Not bad for an old man. Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter?
I believe that was Dan Henderson.
Oh! With the pinpoint.
I think. I don't know. Didn't he just say that? I think he just said that in his most recent fight.
Oh, you're putting me to the test now, huh?
Mm-hmm. Should I not have said that? Should I just have said UFC fighter and left it at that?
No. If you think you know the answer, show off. Definitely. Everyone's saying Dan Henderson in the chat room too. Am I gonna go against that? No. I'm saying it's Dan Henderson too. I'm not gonna pretend like it's not now.
Right.
Sammy's saying that's his guess too. So what is the correct answer, Angie Jabs? Was it Dana White or a UFC fighter?
It was Randy Couture in 2002 versus Tim Silva.
Oh!
Okay.
Did you hear that one?
Randy Couture. Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Dan Henderson said something like that, right? After his fight.
We got to look it up. Maybe. If there was a time for him to say it, it would have been now, right?
Yeah. At age 45.
All right. So wait, did we both just lose that question? Did everyone just?
I said Dan Henderson. So
we didn't get the.
Does that count or does that not count?
Yeah, no, that counts. It was a UFC fighter. It wasn't Dana White. So
okay. So then that would be 5-4, Eddie. So you're in the lead.
Yep.
5-4.
So I'm in the lead 5-4 now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So the next question is this quote Dana White or a UFC fighter? And Angie Jabs?
It's, you're a male nurse. I'm going to fuck you up in about 2 minutes.
You're a male nurse, and I'm about to fuck you up in about 2 minutes. I'm sorry for the vulgar words on that quote. I'll have to bleep that out later. What was the quote? One more time with a bleep.
You're a male nurse, and I'm gonna bleep you up in about 2 minutes.
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter?
I think that was a UFC fighter because I think I know who the male nurse is.
Who?
Well, now I can't remember his name, but he fought in the UFC and then he fought in Bellator. He's from New York.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Somebody help us out.
Everyone's saying that it's got to be a fighter. Who was it, Angie Jabs? Was it Dana White? Or wait, Ted, what did you say? You're saying it's a fighter?
I'm saying it's a fighter, yeah.
I'm going to say it's a fighter, too, because Dana White, or maybe, it could be Dana, but a fighter would be more likely to say, I'm going to F you up.
Right.
So I'm going to go with a fighter. I'm going to give you guys about 10 more seconds to get your answers in the chat room. And the answer is...
It was a fighter. It was Koscheck.
It was Koscheck who said that.
Josh Koscheck. Okay, yeah, because, oh, God, who was that guy? I can't remember the guy's name. Oh, man.
If you guys know who that was in the chat room, definitely let us know.
He's a male nurse. He still is in New York City. And not a bad fighter. He's a pretty good fighter.
I know who you're talking about, too.
Anyway.
All right, so now what is the score?
Well, we both got that right. So I think that would be 6-5 for you.
Oh, 6-5. Are there more questions, Angie? All right, Angie Jab says there are still more questions. So let's try to get this. If I can get one up on you, I think it's going to be a landslide now. But you have a chance to redeem yourself along with the chat room. Oh, we got an answer, Ted. Nover.
Yeah, Philippe Nover. Yeah.
Philippe leaping over. Thank
He's
you
leaping over.
very much.
He's a full-time male nurse, and then he fights on the side, or yeah, I don't know if he's still fighting, but the last fight I knew about was he fought in Bellator. He beat Daryl Horcher, the guy who just recently.
Yep, he just fought Nurmagomedov.
He just recently lost it to Habib.
All right, so one more question or two more questions. We're gonna even this out. Thank you very much for the chat room. Next question: is this Dana White or a UFC fighter? Angie Jabs.
UFC will be bigger than aerial football.
Aerial football?
American? What is that?
One more time. What was the quote?
Doesn't look like American. UFC will be bigger than American football.
Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter?
I'm going with Dana White on that.
One more time. What was the quote?
UFC will be bigger than American football.
UFC will be bigger than American football. I'm going to say Dana White because he would be somebody that would promote the UFC. And you know what? The funny thing is, if that was said 5 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, everyone would be laughing. But at this point, Ted, I think that it's coming neck and neck with excitement at least. I'm more excited about every event. And then again, I'm like a diehard MMA fan. But,
yeah, check it out. The UFC, if in fact it's true that it's sold, and it's sold for $4.2 billion, that's bigger than any other team has sold for, I think.
Well, yeah.
I don't know that any other sports team has been sold for that amount of money. I was reading something about, this team sold for $2 billion, that team sold for 2 point whatever billion. No other sports team has ever been sold. Now, granted, it's the entire UFC. We're not talking about if somebody were to try to buy the NFL, which you couldn't do. But nevertheless, $4.2 billion is huge.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And they bought it for like $2 million originally, right?
Yep.
So what a score. All right, so now the score is, I'm still 1 up, right?
Yes.
All right, so are there 2 more? Can we end this out? There's one more. There's one more, Ted. So
is it still 6-5 or is it now 7-6? I forget now. Now I lost track.
I think it's 7-6.
7-6, okay. Because we both got the last one right.
All right, so is this next quote Dana White or a UFC fighter? Angie Jabs?
It isn't about signing autographs and banging broads.
It isn't about signing autographs and banging broads. Was that Dana White or a UFC fighter? These are some good ones, huh?
These are good. I don't care who said that. I like it. I like it. That sounds like Dana White. I'm gonna go with Dana White.
You're gonna go with Dana White? What do you guys think in the chat room? Was that Dana White or was it a UFC fighter? One more time, Angie Jabs, what was the quote?
It isn't about signing autographs and banging broads.
This isn't about signing autographs and banging broads. I think I remember Dana White saying that. If I'm not mistaken. What did you say? Who do you think said
I said Dana White.
I think Dana White said that on one of the seasons of Ultimate Fighter, I think. Because there's been seasons where people got kicked off and he had these like speeches. And I think he might have said it during like the Nate Diaz season was one of the best.
And he always gives a speech at the beginning too.
Kicked off Boston, Lobster.
Do you want to be a fucking fighter? That thing.
Season 1 he might have said that, or season 3 I feel like. And the correct answer is, was it Dana White or a UFC fighter? Angie Jabs?
It was Dana White.
Dana White.
So Eddie, you win.
So until next week's
8-7.
Until next week, I am up 1 on the debut episode. So tally that one, Ted.
Oh man, I'll get you next time.
So thank you very much, Angie Jabs. We are gonna let you go back to sleep. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
She says thank you guys, and maybe next time I'll get her to come on. If you guys want to see what Angie Jabs looks like, you can check out my videos on my YouTube page. I have done shows. We covered UFC 200 at one point. We talk about Ronda. Angie Jabs gives her take on the female division. She covers The Ultimate Fighter every Wednesday. So if you guys want to know more about Angie Jabs, she comes on the show all the time. And check it out. She's also my girlfriend, so watch out.